Hello, everyone. Many of you guys asked me to make a live stream about my inner work. This was supposed to be like a mindset Monday, but ooh, my hair's still a little wet. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about the coaches that I worked with and just like how I got my life together after I turned 30 because um I had a friend who is just I love her. She said to me, she's like, something happens when you turn 30 and you just you just want to get things right. And I thought she was like being, um, I thought she was like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of silly, but now I'm realizing that she was right. My hair is still wet. So there's like, just like, I'm not all the way together. Okay, you guys, not all the way together, but I will be soon. Um, I'm in Oregon visiting my fiance's family and they live on like a pretty big property, so it's remote out here. Um, and so yeah, it's just a different living. It's actually really nice and peaceful and quiet, and it's like lots of lush green, just beautiful, really, truly beautiful. Um, Only thing that's missing is a gym, but we were able to find one in Toledo, so it was like, you know, it was a drive, but it was worth it. Totally worth it. It was a cute little 24-hour fitness gym or 24-hour gym. Okay, so you guys wanted me to talk to you guys about my inner work and all the inner work I did before I got engaged and all of the coaches that I work with. So, I think I'll talk about the coaches that I work with first and then the different parts of my inner work that I had to do before I started really dating for marriage, because before I was just dating to be dating. Not really like I was like pretending like I was dating for marriage, but really found out that I wasn't. Okay, let me put my phone here so I can do my I'm gonna have to do my makeup in my phone because I don't have a mirror. Um, can I zoom in here? Yeah, no photo. So anyway, inner work. Or coaches, dating coaches I use. So I stumbled across 3 coaches. I don't even know how. Okay, actually what I think was happening is that I think Google, or Apple was listening, probably Google was listening to my conversations on the phone, and they put, a dating coach. She's a dating coach, but she's also like a business coach, on my YouTube. And I was very, very triggered because was just she was saying things that I had always thought to be like not true. um so her name is Sammy Wonder. She was the first one, and she has like I really like her approach because she is a successful businesswoman, as in she was a career woman before she even like started her YouTube and started her life coaching. Like she's always been a businesswoman, and she, went to college and kind of had the typical like American lifestyle, even though she's from the UK. And I really appreciated that because some of these dating coaches are not, or even like just life coaches, do not have sort of like these normal experiences, and they can't really relate to your life. But I could very much relate to Sammy, being a high achieving, academic, goal oriented woman. And that was kind of that's her specialty. So she really works with women who are extremely successful, who have had sort of the typical American um, lifestyle, right? So you go to high school, you go to college, you know, kill it in the workplace, and then you go to school. And then you try and find a husband, apparently, something like that. And so I really liked her because I could relate to that. Like I could relate some of these people I couldn't relate to. Number one, they didn't go to school, so they didn't have some of the same issues that I would have, right? So to speak. Meaning, like when you're dating, you need to choose someone who is at your economic level, near your economic level, and near your social class. That's actually like a healthy decision to make. Um, Especially for women, otherwise you can start to attract predators, and so having someone who has been there and who understands that concept was really important to me. um, and Sammy Wonder calls herself a femininity coach, which that term was something that I had never heard of prior to running into her. And it was very it was a little bit triggering for me at first because I had always seen myself as someone who was like, I'm just kind of like a tomboy, and you know, girls who wear makeup and you know, like dresses and all that other stuff are, I'm just not one of them, and that's weird. And I don't know. I was very much a tomboy growing up, and so it was something that was very it was interesting, like reacting to that in my body. I was like, okay, because she is someone who is like very feminine presenting too, not just in her energy, but she's also very feminine presenting. And so it was kind of interesting to like hear her discuss what it means to be a feminine woman and how that relates to your business, and then how that relates to dating, because I really liked her for her business acumen as well. And so she really goes into both of those topics, like, okay, how does feminine energy help you in your business, and how does it help you in your life, and then how does it help you with dating? And one thing I really liked about her is that she didn't talk about feminine energy solely from this place of dating. Like all these there's a ton of like femininity coaches and dating coaches, and number one, they're not married. Number two, it's all to like for men, and I'm like, that didn't sit well with me. Like I it didn't sit well to change my whole life just for a man. It sat well with me to change my life, to make my life better. And so that's why I really 100% bought into this, because the way that she was describing feminine energy was like, wow, like this is what I was missing in terms of my life, in terms of relaxation, forgiveness, trusting God, like all of those things were missing, and I didn't have a word for it, and surrender and all that stuff. So that's why I resonated with her, because she was able to kind of talk about that in a different way. It wasn't like, this is just for a man, because that didn't, to me, I'm like, that's not, well, I'm not ever doing anything just to get a man. Now, am I willing to make adaptations? Yes, but I'm not going to be like, I'm going to go check off these boxes so that I can get a man. In fact, she like abhorrently preaches against that because she's honest. So she was the first person that I found on YouTube. And then I can't remember which courses I bought of hers, because I was in a relationship when I found her stuff. And I was in like one of those 3-year relationships, boyfriend girlfriend situation, which I would never do again. Um, when I found her, and she was like, why are you she was like, why are you a girlfriend? That's so stupid. Like you're attaching yourself to some guy and he hasn't even committed to you spiritually or emotionally or financially, and you're like, I'm taking myself off the market so that you can try me out. No. She was like, what are you doing? Um, which was a novel concept, because in, growing up in the United States, like that's sort of like what people do. They're like, oh, I just attach myself to some man for 3 years and hope that he marries me. And I have very little boundaries and very little standards for, and we are in these relationships for 2, 3, 5, 7 years, hoping that they marry us. And they don't. This is my favorite. It's called Lifter Gloss from Maybelline. So good. Um, so yeah, she was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you like taking yourself off the market for some rando, some random guy who won't even commit to you? Like, don't do that. And that was a hard concept for me. So she was the first person to introduce me to the idea of not being a girlfriend and only rotational dating. Um, and only, like not locking yourself into any one man immediately, because it is foolish. It is so foolish to be like, oh, I don't know you very well, but I'm going to lock myself in, and then I'm going to put myself in a position where I feel like I'm proving myself to you instead of just living my life and you deciding that you want me. It is foolish. But we train women, young women, to do this all the time. We train them to be girlfriends. If I ever have a daughter, she'll never be allowed to have a boyfriend simply for the fact that it's stupid. Why would you let yourself be like some guy commit, like take you off the market and tell you how to live your life and have access to your time, energy, calendars, and all that stuff? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's stupid. And then he won't provide for you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Will not bind himself to you though, but wants access to your whole life. Like, are you freaking kidding me? And then we're like, oh, and then test him out sexually. Are you kidding me? Y'all are wild. And that concept was foreign to me. The concept of like, oh wow, you're not a car to be tested. Like, if you want to date, you can date. You should date multiple people at once. Trick of the trade. So that's the first person, the first coach that I um, ran into and then purchased some of her work. And then secondly was someone named Crystalline Karazin, who's also known as the Pink Pill. Um, and I'll give you this disclaimer. I don't agree with everybody that I listen to on 100% of their topics. Like, some of the stuff they say I disagree with wholeheartedly, and some of the stuff they say I agree with. So I never want to like be like, oh, I'm promoting this person. Like, there, I think you have to exercise discernment with this whole inner work thing, because you need to be able to decide what's true and what's not based on your own value system. Um, so Crystalline Karazin, she was super helpful in like just learning how to navigate society as a Black woman. I think she's extremely honest about what it means to uh climb socially, because what was happening in my life at the time is like I was starting to make pretty good money and I was starting to interact with different kinds of people who didn't necessarily have access to prior to this job. So I took on a job in a um very wealthy area working with very wealthy people and a different social class, right? And I shouldn't even use the word wealthy, because there are people who are not necessarily like super wealthy, but they're in a different social class, and there's people who have a lot of money but are still low class. So this was just a different social class. And so a lot of Crystalline's work was about how to navigate those circles as a um Black woman, because there are some dynamics that people don't really want to talk about when you're in when you're in those circles. So she was awesome for that. And the other thing I really liked about Crystalline Karazin, and some of you guys are gonna be offended by that, but she was really encouraging on like opening up your dating pool and like who are you willing to date if you want to get married. Because the truth is that as a Black woman, we are the most educated group of people in the United States. And limiting yourself, like I was kind of like, oh, well, I should marry a Black person. Like yeah, I should marry someone who's Black. And she's like that's nice if you want to, but please understand that like from a statistical perspective, you will be waiting till the cows come home. So you might as well open up your dating pool and really choose the best man for the job instead of choosing someone just solely based on their race or one characteristic. So she was really good about the social and like business aspects of my life, and also as a Black woman, like what it's like to date and how do you expand your options so that you can choose the best man for the job. And so it was really awesome to like have Sammy and then have Crystalline, and then I'll add the other ones after I'm done talking about Crystalline, to just really like. And I took a couple live classes from her too. They were mostly for business though. So I took a bunch of business courses from her to help me with the situation that I was in, because I was navigating, I was just in a different class when I was working in that Silicon Valley area. So anyway, so I took Crystalline's courses, had some coaching with her, and then that in that course also she talked about like style and clothing and what how to like what your energy is giving off, and all like it was just a bunch of stuff that like I'd never heard. Like no one had ever told this to me. So I was like, what? I was like, okay, true story. I was low key mad for like a week because I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this when I was like 25? Granted, I probably wouldn't have been receptive to it, but I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this when I was 25 that like this stuff matters? And, you know, I just, yeah, I, that was the toughest part about starting my work was that I real like being upset that you were not told this at a younger age and like how did these other people know this and I didn't? Like I was so mad. I was so mad for a long time. I was mad at my parents. I was like, wait, you guys knew well, they didn't know either. That's the other thing. It's like I had to just be like, okay, they didn't know. That's why they didn't tell me. Because they didn't. My parents did not like this was these a lot of these concepts are very foreign to them as well. So yeah, that was a huge part in the work was forgiving them for not necessarily preparing me appropriately in those areas. Because that was hard. Like, I'm like, I have to hear from some random woman on the internet. Y'all should have told me that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that was Crystalline. And then the last coach that I hired was the Universe Guru. Her real name is Mina Irfan, but that's her YouTube. And I've like done so many like calls and stuff with her. And she was actually like, so my business started taking off, and I was like, okay, I need systems, I need I need mindsets that are going to help me manage this. Um, and she's been super helpful with my online business. But she's also a dating coach and a life coach, and she's also married and she has children. And, she has a different life experience than the other two ladies. And I think that was important for me because I think a lot of these sometimes life coaches they don't have any trauma, right? Which is not to glorify trauma, but when you don't have trauma, you can't relate to clients who do have trauma. I'm just like that's just unfortunately that's the way that I feel about it. So it was nice to hear from someone, okay, like these are the things that I went to and this is how I fixed it, and to be able to like work through that with her was amazing. And so some of the stuff that I work through with her, childhood trauma, obviously, um forgiveness, like, okay, here's all these people in your life who have done horrible things to you. How long are you going to let them dictate how you live your life? Like, how long are you going to punish yourself and them for how you live your life? So for me, a lot of it was like I would hold myself back from being successful because I didn't like, for some reason I was like, it was like you don't deserve to have like things, right? Don't ask me to explain the logic behind it. I don't know. It's really illogical. Um so we had to work through that. Like, why do you think that this is helpful for anybody, for you to just shrink yourself into a corner and not live your life? So for a long time, like I knew I didn't want to be a teacher for a very long time, but I kept it because it was like, what are people going to say? Like they're going to think this about me and my family and blah blah. And she was like, so what's wrong with you? Are you going to sit here and live your whole life worried about what other people think? Or are you going to, get healthy and live your life? And that was important. What else? Emotion, like super reactive. I was, well, that was part of the childhood stuff, but I was very, very reactive to other people and didn't have any boundaries. And then I would blame them for not having boundaries. She helped me establish very strong boundaries with people, family, friends, etc., so that I could make sure that I was managing my own emotions. Because a lot of people, like, they continue to put themselves back in situations where they're going to be triggered, and then they go, and then they're like, "Oh, well, this person keeps triggering me." I'm like, "No, how about you? Number one, don't get triggered, and number two, leave. Like, you get to go. Like, you get to walk. You have free will. No one's telling you to stay, right?" So anyway, she was super helpful with strong boundaries, and then with dating, she's a savage. She was like, she's a savage. Straight up savage. She also has like really strong boundaries with dating. She's like, we're not letting men claim us without putting rings on our fingers. We're not dating men who have dirty John energy. We're not dating men who are not doing their inner work, who are not emotionally healthy. Like we're just not doing it. And so she was able to walk all of us in her classes and stuff through like how these are the characteristics that you need to be looking for when you're dating. These are the things that matter. These are the things that don't matter. It doesn't matter if he's 6 feet tall. Is it nice? Sure. But what if he gets his knees cut off in an accident? Are you not going to like him anymore because he's not 6 feet tall? Like, what about his character? Like that. Like that kind of stuff. What else did I work through in her courses? I think one of the big things with her was like letting go of control. This is why I like her too. When you grow up in like a chaos household or like a place where there's abuse, you're like a lot of people are like control freaks. So they try and control everybody and everything. And then inevitably one area of their life is like super out of control. So for me, I would be controlling men that I was dating, or I'd be controlling, trying to control how everybody else perceived me and control all this other. And I was like, she was like, what are you doing? Like, you're living your life basically afraid of other people. And like the crazy part about that is like, if you're living your life for other people, you're actually not living your life for yourself or for God for that matter, because you're now like, well, what are they going to think if I do this? And what are they going to think? And that's why I'm like, I live for an audience of one. Like, she was the one who really put me on that game. She's not a Christian. So if you're weak in the faith, she's not somebody that you need to be listening to, because you need to have discernment. Nothing wrong with her. A lot of my coaches and therapists were not Christian, because okay, can I keep it a buck? A lot of the Christian coaches were not married. They're not married. And so I'm like, why am I listening to you if you're not married? Why am I listening to you if you don't have the life that I want, or you don't have the experience that I want? Now, of course, there's something to be said for wisdom, but I'm not about to be like, you guys need to stop going to dating coaches who are not married. Stop going to, like, that's stupid. You like, it's like hiring a fitness coach who isn't fit. That's silly. I'm sorry, but it is. It doesn't matter how much knowledge they have. My question is, can you implement what you're telling me? That's the biggest thing, is like with all of these coaches, I was watching if they could implement it. Because my first thing is like, I don't believe you. You're over here telling me to do all this stuff, but you can't do it yourself. Like, stop. That's not, and that's why I'm such a big advocate of, or like a hard on myself for things, because I'm like, not me being a fitness coach and then binge eating and then being like, hey guys, don't binge eat. Like, no, not me being a fitness coach and then being like, well, I don't think I want to like eat healthy. And no, like, I'm going to practice what I preach, because I have to sleep at night, right? I have to sleep properly at night. So I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to do what I need to do so that I'm not a hypocrite. But yeah. So what else? I think I was like one more thing, and then I need to get off the phone because Spencer's taking me out somewhere. I don't know where we're going. I think we're going to the beach. I forgot what I want to talk about. Oh, other things I had to do for inner work. Oh, here's another thing. I changed the kind of people that I hung around. Yes. A lot of women are like, they don't believe in good men. Like, they don't believe that healthy men exist or that good men exist. And they complain about men all the time. And I had to get out of that mindset, and I had to get out of that energy, because if you're dating and you think that men are bad, like you think that men are horrible people, or men are like there just to serve you, that like things are not going to work out well for you. They're just not, because first of all, men can feel that energy, and second of all, if you think men, like there's not a lot of good men out in the world, then that's what you will find. And so for me, really had to change my mindset about, like, number one, what is a good man, and then number two, believe that there are good men out there, like there actually are, and believe that the right man, especially as a Christian, you guys, there's a lot of like women put a lot of pressure on themselves to sleep with men before they're married and to be their surrogate wives. And I had to believe that wasn't true. That, like, I had to believe that the right man would actually be okay with me not sleeping with him before marriage. And to me, I'm like, don't call yourself a Christian and then you can't do that. That's beside the point. Even non-Christian men will do this. I'm telling you guys right now. I know so many women who are not Christian, but they decide not to sleep with their husbands before they're married or they're whatever, before they get married. And these men love them for it because it means that you have boundaries and you have self-control and you value yourself. And the right man will be okay with it. He will be mad. He will be mad at first, of course, but the right man will actually be okay with it. That was the thing I had to actually come to my own conclusions about. It's like, if a man is mad and runs away, thank God, because that wasn't the right one, right? Second thing is not attaching yourself to people as people's girlfriends. Like, the right man will actually take it. I remember I was dating this one guy. He was in my rotation and he was like, "Oh, you don't want to be a girlfriend?" I said, "No." He's like, "Oh, great. So then I just need to take up all of your time so that no one else can date you." Bingo. If that's what you want, that's what you're gonna have to do. Like, you're gonna have to work for this. Like, that's actually part of the that's part of the hunt that men actually they don't like it on the surface, but they actually appreciate it deep down inside. But I had to be okay with that. I had to be like, okay, it's okay if this man thinks that I'm a hoe because I won't be his girlfriend. Fine. Think that I'm a hoe. I don't care. I'm not. Clean as a whistle. But yeah, you definitely I definitely had to change my mindset around what it meant to like date for marriage versus, oh, I'm 25 and I'm gonna be someone's girlfriend for the next 3 or 4 years until you decide that I'm worthy of marrying. Are you freaking kidding me? Never. If you're younger than 30, please don't ever do that again. Like, and you're somebody's girlfriend, cut them ties right now because you'll be doing that for the next 2, 3 years and then being like, oh, why didn't, and then moving in and being like, why isn't he marrying me? Been there, done that. Take it from a wiser, wiser older woman. Don't do it. It's stupid. It's foolish. And yeah, so anyway, that was a big thing was like mindset and then not hanging around women who didn't like men. Stop hanging around women who don't like men. A lot of women sit around and talk about their husbands. They talk about their boyfriends and just are nasty. Ew. I don't want to be around that. I do not hang out with women who talk badly about men. I don't. Because I don't want to develop that habit where I'm like, "Oh, I'm like, I have a great man who's extremely patient and kind and loving and loyal. Why would I sit around talking about him? You got you guys must have picked the wrong one." Doesn't mean he's perfect, but it's like I'm not gonna sit around and talk about him, but I had to stop hanging out with women who talk about men that way because it will affect how you view the men that you are dating. Okay, we gotta go. I'm late. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, you guys. I am gonna get out of here. If you liked this live stream, please leave a comment below and go fill up my Stanley Cup and head out. And I will talk to you guys later. If you're interested in any of my courses, they are linked in the description box below. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. See you in the next one. Don't forget to leave like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.